beautiful Monday morning, and we are here to give you the latest gist around the world and to keep you informed. So my name is Modot Dominic, and this is the newspaper review and the morning dew. Okay, so with me is my amazing co-host, and I have Bishop in the house.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Modot. Good morning, Engineer Ola. How are you guys? You are looking
doing very well.
But you see, this country,
Okay.
I'm surviving.
We are all survivors. Engineer Ola.
Nigerians, good morning to you all.
Good morning. How was your weekend?
Not bad, as usual.
Okay, rest.
Sleep.
That's very good. I hope you all are also learning to do the same thing. Eat, rest, relax, and have some fun with families. Okay, we'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at what we have. First, we'll start with the quote for the day. So we'll be right back shortly.
Yeah, the quote for the day is from the book of John, chapter 15 and verse 5. It says, I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him, it is that bears much fruit. It is he that bears much fruit apart from me. For apart from me, you can do nothing. The baseline for that scripture is that we abide in God. He cares for us. There is a saying that it is the manufacturer that has the best part to whatever product.
Exactly.
The manufacturer has replacement, he has spare parts, he has all of that. And that is God. That's what God means to us. God is our maker. He has spare parts. He has replacement for anything that may be considered irreparable in anybody's either life or destiny or skill or work. So God is the vine, we are his branches. So let's just abide, and that way we can flourish. And to close on that, it is to remain connected to Christ, to bear the fruit of his spirit in all that we do. And that is what I will be leaving you with as I close on that quote. Modot, Engineer, abide.
Abide in him, and he will always abide with you. Stay connected to the source. Whosoever is detached from the source dries up, loses its taste. So do not at any point stay connected from the source that you were created from. Okay, quickly, let's take a look at the stories that we have, and we'll start with the Punch newspaper. And the first story that we have from the Punch says, National Assembly polls. Tribunals to decide 400 cases and sittings. The National Assembly election petition tribunals sitting in several states will end their proceedings this week as they prepare to deliver judgment on no fewer than 400 election petitions. Though a senior independent National Electoral Commission official said 552 election petitions were filed by the aggrieved candidates who participate in the National Assembly elections. The Punch gathered that on Sunday that over 150 of the cases had been decided. It was learned that some of the cases were withdrawn by petitioners. However, about 400 cases are expected to be decided this week at tribunals across countries, and their sittings on Saturday, which is 16th, 2023. So that's the first story that we have on the Punch newspaper. So when I saw this story again, I'm like, okay, it's more like a back and forth thing, and why this is also coming up again, and then we have everywhere. What's going on with this election today? Like in this period, this period has been okay. We are not sure with what is going on. We just feel like something did not just go on rightly. So is there more to this than we are reading just on the papers? Let me start with you, Engineer Ola.
Well, no, it's a new tone in Nigerian politics that Emi Ogba, Iwo Ogba, and what happens? There's disagreement. You go to court. No, you can look at the figure is very huge.
Very high.
552 election petitions across the nation. The number is huge, and then we thank God that before the end of this month, everything will be over.
And I think this is the first time we're having such a huge number of petitions being applied in the court this season, going back and forth. And I think is basically because this is starting from the presidential level, and then everybody is now paying attention to the fact that I don't want to accept that I have lost this. So there is more to it, and I need an explanation. So, Engineer Ola.
No, you see, when you are going to a battlefield and you are not prepared, so what happens? You always say, Mogba. We have to organize a rematch. We have to fight again. We have to organize a rematch.
Not accepting defeat.
This is what is really happening. Most of the politicians are not prepared for the election. And they believe that, oh, if I have money, okay, they believe in self-esteem that, oh, I'm popular, I will win this election. And when
without
you get
hard work.
Yes, on the day of election, they realize that, oh, I'm not fully prepared at all. I will have done more. And they know, one thing I said the other time is that we don't have this background check up. If you have the background check, we will know. I would know myself that if I contest this election, I'm going to lose.
Exactly.
Because I have nothing to offer. Most of them don't have anything to offer. But now the court is now bringing their secret into the open by telling them, oh boy, you cannot fit into this particular position. But Nigerians, they have to put up a fight. They will not accept defeat without putting up a fight.
Exactly.
They put up a fight, they went to court, and court has told them, look, you cannot do it. And the same thing is happening again to the senators and in the House of Reps. Oh, I do not agree, I disagree with the judgment, I have to go to court. Let them go to court. And some of them will lose, and some of them will win.
Some will win.
My take is that those who are winning now should make sure they perform to the expectation of the populace. The voters will be expecting that in your office you perform very, 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 very well.
Exactly.
That is my take on that. So, but thank God that the saga of the election, the battle of the election is getting over. Before the end of this month, everything will be over.
Sorted
then
out.
they can sit down quietly and continue their legal duties.
Okay, there is always a way forward, and the reason why we have people being put in place of leadership is because a lot is expected of them. You can't come and tell me that I am trying my best, I am doing what I need to do. We expect that as a leader, if being put in place of a certain thing, you should work effectively, and that is why a lot is expected. So if you are on the winning side and you are being put in a position, we expect that you meet up with the expectation of the people, and we won't have to be going back and forth on petitions here and there. So
you see,
Dapper, what's your view?
If you go back and forth, you discover that there are lots of discrepancies surrounding the election that we had this year. And for me, going by this this figure, it shows that it will only make our democracy stronger. That people are more aware of their rights, people are more committed to transparency, people want to fact check everything you claim to have bring on their table as a result, and that way we can have more profound system. That because when you work with the mind that nobody is checking me, you are likely to do anyhow. But when it comes to a point that you know that you are accountable for whatever you do, at that point you begin to take responsibility. You start taking your checks seriously. You start doing balances and making sure that at the end of the day your office is accredited as a sane and profound one. But beyond that, well, those that are filing cases, like we had last week at the tribunal.
Yes, the
The
verdict.
presidency remains President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and they dismiss both the Atiku and
the
Obi's
petitions.
petitions, and we don't know what are likely to come up. There are also been some judgments, I think, with the senator representing Kogi. One of the senators there, was also sacked. I think APC to PDP. It was declared, the tribunal gave judgment in favor of PDP there. So we still look forward to hear more judgments as event unfolds.
All right. Okay, so we'll take a look at the second story that we have from the Punch newspaper. And this says Nigeria needs 10 years to replace 500 migrating doctors. The president of Medical and Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria, Prof. Aminu Mohammed, has said that it will take Nigeria 10 years to replace 500 doctors who recently left Nigeria in search of greener pastures. Mohammed was speaking on Sunday against the backdrop of findings by the association from 50 out of 80 chapters confirmed that no fewer than 500 medical personnel have left the shore of Nigeria to the outer world. The president, who was fielding questions from newsmen shortly after he read a communique of the biennial delegates meeting of the association held in Kano, lamented that the alarming exodus of specialists out of the country painted a dark future for the health sector in our country. According to him, Nigeria has continued to produce the finest and highest numbers of clinical experts, graduates and postgraduates in sub-Saharan Africa, who are currently breaking records all over the world. He stressed that according to statistics available to them, more than 500 medical consultants have have migrated out of the country in search of greener pastures elsewhere. The communique read, medical education is under threat, mainly due to the largest number of specialists and trainers migrating to other clients. So when I saw this story this morning, I was like, how did we get here? That was the first question on my mind. How did we get to the point where we have to lose good hands? Where we have, because we're losing good hands. For them to be leaving the country, for greener pastures, what exactly are we not doing right in Nigeria? Why do we have people leaving the shores of our country when they know that we have need for them? So is there something we're not doing right? Is it that they are not being paid, or is it that our country is not? It was just a question roaming through my mind, and I really want to ask you.
Okay.
Let me start with you, Dapo.
Yeah. So you see, this is a red flag for Nigeria's health sector, because I'll be sincere with you. If I am a medical doctor, I would migrate to.
Okay. Reason being that because if you look at the operation, considering how medical personnel are treated outside, Nigeria, particularly in the Western world, you will want to leave. You will just saw a scene of, that's the former federal capital territory in Lagos, just at, close by here on the island, where, they discuss how he lived, claimed a life of a graduating, mm-hmm.
I think the lady was doing her housemanship or something,
exactly.
And then at the last lap, just fell. And during the investigation, report came, stating that they don't have water for weeks sometimes. That they have to pay 500, 1,000 for people to bring water to 10th floor. And I doubt how much bath would you have with a bucket of water. I'm trying to imagine somebody who has been stressed, a medical doctor, now had to bathe with just a bucket. You should be in a tank of water. Like, have more to bathe yourself enough. Not that you get inside and you have to manage even water.
And this is a sector which they are not supposed to manage things.
So people who are not well treated will naturally not be in their best. And when they have offers, you know, to go elsewhere, where they will be treated like
and
kings,
appreciated.
you see, you can't treat people like slaves and expect them to treat your people like kings. No, it won't happen. When we treat our doctors like slaves, they will not look at us like kings. They're not going to look at us like, you know, a wicked person. And, you know, we are not doing well. I must say, everybody surrounding me that happen to be a medical person, I've left the country. Friends, sister, everybody, they are out. That's me. Who knows what happens in your own family?
Of course.
And some other people. That's to tell you that we are not doing well. And it's not limited to health. The accountancy field too. They are losing people. We are so
Paying
particular about
attention
health
to the
because
health,
is this one has to do with
Life.
daily care and whatever. But there are more professionals who are exceeding the country. Lots of them, millions, not in thousands, millions. So what are we saying? And there are more people to go. There are more people to go. So what I would just say is, if the government gets it right, they retain doctors. But if they don't get it right, more
This will
doctors
continue.
will leave. You can't treat doctors like secondary school teacher. Not to look down on teachers. But I tell you, the service they offer it's a matter of life and death. A teacher can easily look for a job elsewhere, but a doctor, if you leave and they used to claim that it is if you are, working with the government hospital that you tend to make more money or something. But, if government do now treat them well, going to private can be, very
They have
disturbing.
better offers. Okay, let me come to you, Engineer.
Well, according to the president of Nigerian Medical and Dental Consultant Association, that it will take 10 years to replace 500 Nigerian doctors that have moved out of the country in search of greener pastures. Now, in those years, in those days, when you become a graduate outside the country, you love to come back home and serve your nation. Then what is happening? Most of them who have returned then, now in Nigeria, are suffering. Yes.
They wish they never came back.
They wish they never came back. They are regretting coming back to this country. And now you are now saying to take 10 years to replace 500 doctors. I could remember in those days, doctors would come from Egypt to work in Nigerian hospitals. Doctors would come from Philippines to work in Nigerian hospitals. People would say, I'd like to see that Egyptian doctor. They were very young. That was when Nigeria was coming up. But now that Nigeria is there, our doctors are leaving simply because of working condition. What is the salary of a medical doctor in Nigeria today? And what are the conditions attached to that salary? There's nothing to write home about it. I could remember there was a time I was in Malaysia. I met 2 Nigerian doctors. I'm not boasting about it though. But I can say that authoritatively that I gave them money, to return back to Nigeria, because there they had to do licentiate exam before they could be fitted into the society. And they said, no, after I've done my exam in Nigeria, and I've been working as a medical doctor in Nigeria, will I do another licentiate exam in Malaysia to work? I told them, can you find yourself in Namibia? They went to Namibia. They are doing better today in Namibia. They are enjoying what they are doing in Namibia today. They always pray for me. They call me on phone and say, thank you very much for what you have done for us. It's a little thing. So if you study in your country of birth, and you come back home to serve your nation, and you are not comfortable, what do you expect? And let me tell you one thing about immigration. In those days, our forefathers, they migrate. People are always moving. If you look at the black history in the whole world today, we moved from Kishi, northern Egypt, to all over the world. That was the reason of talking about education, because they were travelers, they were moving. But today in Nigeria, when you look at Nigerian educational system, you as a person, you have a son who is very, very brilliant, and you train him. You have to go out to borrow money, take loan from the bank. You can't build a house of your own. You want to educate your child, and after education, they pay him stipend as a medical doctor. What would you advise him? How are you going to settle your bills? The debt you are owing, how are you going to pay back the debt? My son, please go and work in America so I can be able to pay my debt. So he has to move. Migration is natural, is not foreign. It's natural. People have to move from their present abode for a greener pasture. In the dry season, people move to look for water. So Nigeria should not be saying that we are going to take 5 years to replace. If you put in place scholarship, funding, like what they do in the West, I want to study medicine. Even as a Nigerian, if you go to Europe and say I want to study medicine, they will not give you that particular study. They will okay, study, become a veterinary doctor. You can become a eye doctor or nose doctor. Because those are specialized courses that are not meant for foreigners. But if you are opportunity to study there and you have that degree or that qualification, they will not allow you to leave. And if you are the best brain in Nigeria, they will try to absorb you. And they will give you scholarship to further your education. Exactly. What is our government doing about educational system in this country? Where is the funding? Where is the scholarship? It's not there.
You can't retain.
So why are you not blaming them for migrating? I can't blame them for migrating. The government has to sit back on a round table with their colleagues and formulate a policy on education. There must be funding for brilliant students. There must be scholarship for brilliant students. Then coalition will be attached to it that if you are given this type of scholarship, you have to stay in Nigeria work for 10 years or 20 years before you can pay back your debt. They will sit. But without the condition, nobody will sit. I can assure you. Most of us who came back to this country are regretting it today. That had I known, I would not return to this country because of what is happening. You are okay. Compare an engineer to a mechanic. A mechanic can have 3-4 wives. One be engineer, he would regret it. Of course. But the mechanic can do that because he knows how to manipulate his way around. But an engineer who knows the exact problem of this vehicle will go straight to the plan and say, okay, if you want to solve the problem of this car, this is what you have to do. But mechanic that will manipulate you, you go to the mechanic. And how many engineers we have in Nigeria today? If you, okay, there was a time we were asked this question in India, that the Indians are leaving. One doctor, we call him Dr. Arumugan. Do you know what he said? He said the best Indian doctors are not leaving. The best doctors are not leaving. That if you make your medical services very, very cheap, people will patronize you. Exactly. And that was the case. But in Nigeria today, hospital bills is very expensive. So those who are here are very, very expensive. So I will not blame anybody for leaving this country. Oh my God! I will even advise my children to go out and study. Study and work outside the country.
Because after going through a whole lot of stress studying, the least you need is to, work in a place where you're not being appreciated or you're not being paid the due that is required for them to pay you. So I really wish and hope that our government pay attention to this part of the sector that is affecting our economy. So away from that, we'll look at the next story that we have still on the Punch newspaper. And this says Ogun, ex-Governor Daniel's wife clash over plaza demolition. The Ogun State government said it took proactive measure to partially pulling down that Kem Plaza, Ijebu-Ode, said to be owned by Mrs. Foluke Daniels, the wife of the state former governor Otumba Gbenga Daniel. The governor called the plaza an illegal structure without an approved plan and added that and called the plaza an illegal structure without approved plan and added that they contravened the state's physical planned laws. On Sunday, in a Sunday statement signed by the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development, Olayiwale Abiodun, the government said that the structure violated the building code of the state with numerous defects. It said several efforts made by the state government to halt further development on site were ignored by the developer. He said that the government official requested the structural engineer in charge of the building to assess the structural equilibrium of the building. A request that was ignored, according to the PS, was the governor did partially pulling down the defective building was to be proactive. He further challenged the owner of the structure to produce evidence of government approval in their possession. A lawyer of the former governor's wife, Mr. Adeyinka Kotoye San, said that the state government on Sunday morning ignored the relevant court papers served on them on September 7, 2023, not to go ahead with the vandalization and demolition of the Datkem Plaza belonging to former First Lady. Kotoye disclosed in a Sunday statement issued that the vandalization was carried out by some suspected political thug who were alleged to have operated on the building under the shield of some police officer from 3 a.m. to about 5:30 a.m. on Sunday morning. So while I was reading this story, I also realized that what exactly are we paying attention to? Is it going to vandalize a building? That is the major thing right now. When we have major problems going on around us, I don't know. I don't know what exactly is going on with Ogun State. I think Ogun State generally just have a problem because we have bad roads. Today, I literally had to, spend longer time coming down to the studio. I waited it took me a whole lot of time to get a vehicle to bring me down here because the road was so congested because of the bad road. Erosion has spoiled a whole lot of things, and we are not paying attention to the matters at hand. And then we are now talking about vandalization. I know that people can be so adamant when it comes to when they give them instructions and then they are not abiding by it, but I still believe that this was not a good step to take, and for whatsoever reason. Wait, let me just stop there. Engineer, let me start with you.
Now you see, the universe will say
okay.
Lapalapa is is a children disease that affects the skin, especially the head. In Ogun State, commercially Ogun State is viable. Commercially, agriculturally, Ogun State is viable. But there are lots of problems in Ogun State. But I can see this as the clash of titans. The present governor and the former governor, that's a clash. Who is mightier? Mojuelo or Jumilo? This is a political rivalry. I do not see anything in this at all. Benga Daniel was former Ogun State governor.
Exactly.
When he was the governor, we saw what he did. That Abiodun is the present governor of Ogun State. We see what he's doing. No, you see, this is what I consider that the headers of the two political parties must come together and solve it before it becomes another thing entirely. Now, according to the present administration, they are saying that where the structure is being erected
is illegal.
It's illegal. And the excuse they are giving is, it's nothing to write home about. They are saying that the building violated building codes. What are the building codes? And they are saying that there is no structural equilibrium. All these are civil engineering terms. They are not relevant. If you look at, go to Okeayo, go to Alagbole, go to Akute, all the roads are bad. You are not seeing all those areas.
Lapses.
But you can be able to see Ibadan Express Road. I know that Ibadan Express Road, you can be able to see illegal building. And again, looking at the arms of law, the lawyer of that woman, that is the wife of the former governor, is now saying that, okay, the court has restrained you from demolishing this property. Yet they went ahead with talks. They used to agree. So I can see this as clash of the titans. It doesn't have to do with democracy at all. We should stop this type of bitter politics.
And the time of demolition was so uncalled for, at ungodly hour. If it was illegal, you shouldn't have gone at that time to do the demolition at about 3 a.m.
Yes, in the morning to destroy a house. The same thing happened when this man at Ibadan, what is his name? The former governor of Oyo State is late now. That went and demolished Yinka Ayefele's radio station. For what reason? Ajimobi. Everybody was on him. We should stop this kind of bitterness in politics. It's not going to get us anywhere at all. Megadana is now representing senators. And this, if the others do not come and settle this matter, it will escalate. It will continue to escalate. And it's the one that will not blow anybody good. That's my take on this.
Thank you so much for shedding more light. Okay, let me come to you, Dapo.
I'm not adding anything to what Engineer said. He has nailed it on the head. This had to do with the political titans, and they are the ones that can really stop it. They started it, they can stop it. You see, they did not come to your house. That's why they didn't go to engineers' house, because they can only go to each other's house and to each other's building. And that's what we see in Nigerian politics. Nigerian politics is a politics that can destroy, that believes more in destruction than construction. We can destroy economy. We know how to destroy economy. We know how to destroy lives and properties than to build lives and property. It's unfortunate that that's the kind of country we live in,
that we find ourselves. Okay, quickly we'll go on a quick break, and when we come back we'll take a look at further stories making Vanguard newspaper. We'll be right back shortly.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for staying tuned. This is still your newspaper review and on the morning dew, and I still remain your host, Modo Dominic. And please make sure that you follow us through on our social media platform, Cactv. Drop your comments, drop your contributions, and we'll be so glad to read and also hear from you. And your contributions goes a long way to helping us discuss more and further on the stories that we have. So we'll take a look at the next stories that we have from the Vanguard, and this one is one of the story making the Vanguard headlines. So, and this says, anguish Chaos, gridlock over international flight relocation. International travelers airline will in the coming days experience pain, gridlock along with discomfort while embarking on their travel both outbound and inbound. This is coming at the heel of the relocation of international airlines and travelers to the new international airport, Terminal 2 in Lagos. It will be recalled that the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, last month directed all international airlines to vacate the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, MMIA, from October 1st, 2023. Keyamo notified the airline to commence immediate action of the relocation of their ticket sales office to the new Terminal 2 constructed by the Chinese consortium for the commencement of renovation work at the MMAI. The announcement has thus led to chaos for both travelers and airlines as they struggle to manage operating in the new terminal, which capacity is far less than the current, which is the old terminal they refer to. And that's the story, the second story on Vanguard newspaper. So, Engineer Ola, what's your view on this?
Well, it's a new development, and then we will say that we believe the minister is not making a mistake, because before you take a step like this, you have to consult all the stakeholders in the aviation industry. That this is what we want to do, and I believe he has done that. If he has not done that, it's a very big error, because according to what we read in the paper, the capacity of that
is way lesser than what they currently
is lesser than what is obtainable from where they are shifting to another location. So, and if that is what we are going to look into, there are going to be a lot of problems. But if it's going to be temporary, it is better. But it should not be like an white elephant project that it will take about 3, 4, 5, 10 years again to complete. Because that place is not advisable for them to shift to a location that is not spacious enough to accommodate both their flight business. Well, if what he's saying is right and it's going to be for a short period of time, let's wait and see. Time will tell. I don't have much to say on it, but I know very well that Keyamo is not an aviation expert, but maybe he has a very good advisors, personal advisors who will be able to advise him on aviation matters. Let's wait and see. Time will tell.
Yes, like you say, time will tell. So we'll look forward to making sure that they do the needful, and the needful is being done to make sure that they have enough capacity to help them do their job and do it properly. So we'll take a look at the story making headline from the Nation newspaper, and this says this is the best time to invest in Nigeria, says Elumelu. I love reading stories that attach Elumelu. I don't know why. Maybe because the guy is a great investor and he understands the business of investment so well. Okay, so let's look at the story. And this says ongoing microeconomic reform have the potential to significantly leverage Nigeria's investment market and deliver above average returns to investors. One of the African's leading investors and entrepreneur, Mr. Tony Elumelu, said that the economic atmosphere in Nigeria offers the best opportunity for good returns for investors. Elumelu owned the single largest stakes in several publicity quotes companies, including United Bank of Africa. We know that that's the UBA PLC, Transnational Corporation of Nigeria, which is the Transcorp PLC, and Transcorp Hotel PLC, United Capital PLC, and African Prudential. Elumelu's heirs then also own major stake in insurance, real estate, power and financial service companies, providing an entrepreneurial investment perspective for a global audience at the Nigeria-India Presidential Roundtable and Conference in New Delhi, India. Elumelu cited his personal experience, corporate record and researches that underline a robust outlook for the economy. He urged the Indian private sector to seize the opportunity to invest in Nigeria, noting that the country is a large market with immense opportunities for foreign investors. Elumelu, who has built Pan-African financial service businesses and controls significant power and natural resources operation with his Afri-capitalism focused on value creating in Africa, was in Delhi for the G20 summit, both as an investee of the President Bola Tinubu and as a co-chair of the Business 20B20 Action Council, focusing on the African economy integration, the private sector counterpart to the G20. So you know, I was reading this and I was really smiling, because you could just see the investment that this person, a single person, has been able to pull together for himself, and for him to also come out and be a participant in the G20 summit would also give the investor a lot of hope to know that, okay, coming out to invest, coming from Elumelu, who is a major stakeholder in Nigeria, okay, for him to come out and also encourage us, it means that, okay, we can actually invest. It is giving us hope. And I love the fact that he's also encouraging them and also supporting our president to encourage people to also come in Nigeria to invest. And it's a good one for me. It's a good take for me. So, Engineer Ola.
Yeah, I remember the Kufu, former Ghanaian president, when he was the president of Ghana, he encouraged macroeconomic reforms. That is to be able to move forward Ghanaian economy. And then they had his son, Kufu Annan, who was the General Secretary of the United Nations then. And before he left, he was able to transform all the borrowing agents in outside the country to Ghana to move on the macroeconomy reform in Ghana. Mm-hmm. Now it's our turn. Thank God that Elumelu is one of the stoned members of a macroeconomic team of President Bola Tinubu. What he's trying to tell the Indians there and the whole world at large is that we can, if you want to invest your money in Nigeria, is the best time for you to do that. But at the same time, again, every other department that is involved must get themselves prepared for this investment opportunity that is coming to the country. Mm-hmm. And again, we have to watch, let me say, we have to talk to our people that when foreigners are coming to the country and they want to do business with you, please be prudent.
Let's behave ourselves.
Let's behave ourselves. Let us be ourselves, not what we plan to be.
We say one thing and we're doing another thing.
And do another thing. So this is a very good step in the right direction that can take the economic reform of Bola Tinubu forward. We all Nigerians have to wake up and support this economic reform so that we can be able to transform Nigeria into a greater nation.
Okay, Ms. Dapo.
See, what I can just add to what Engineer Ola said is that let's use the animal kingdom for instance. When a sheep is, we will say is bleating, is speaking. To us, we say is bleating, but to another sheep, it's actually speaking. You see, in the same way, when businessmen are talking, they are talking money, they are talking revenue, they are talking capitalism, not just politics. So, and that is why President Bola Tinubu had to go with a man like Tony Elumelu to speak to people of his caliber. That if you follow me to my country, a country that has made me who I am, and proud to who he is, and is the profile,
yeah.
so the business empire he has domain over. So he's just selling Nigeria to them that, see, Nigeria has made me this. Nigeria can do more for you. Come to my country, we'll make it, And he has, and when he's saying that with the president by his side,
of course,
you can imagine how
there's a lot of assurance.
that conversation will be. That this is a solid business meeting. I'm not telling you something I will have to go back home and have to go and convince. The president is seated with me to tell you that we have the country for you, we have the strategy and all the partners for you. And I pray it goes well for the team, that all will go well for this administration.
Yes, and we look forward to having our investors coming to invest in our country, Nigeria. There is so much hope. There is so much hope, and we can't afford to let the hope down. We have to keep the hope alive and trust that God will come through for us in this season. So the last story that we have on the Nation newspaper says Tinubu strikes multiple deals with Germany, Korea, India. President Bola Tinubu has secured major investment, commitment and economic cooperation from 3 of world's largest economy. He got commitment from German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol, and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to expand their investment frontiers in Nigeria. The pledge was in acknowledgement of the policy initiated by the Tinubu administration to reboot the economy. Tinubu held business talk and stepped up bilateral engagement with key economic partners on the sidelines of the G20 summit, which closed yesterday in New Delhi, India. The president took advantage of the summit to create a deeper Euro-Asia connection for Africa's largest economy, outlined Nigeria competitive advantage amid going on reform. Germany, Europe's largest economy, South Korea, Asia's fourth largest economy in India, Asia global giant, formally endorsed the Tinubu reform with initial promises in increased economic cooperation and investment. So this is also from a result from the G20 summit that went down, and I'm so impressed that our president is doing a whole lot of work in making sure that he, sweet talk these people, let me use that word, sweet talk them to come in to invest in our country, Nigeria. He is really doing a whole lot of work, and kudos to him. And we look forward to, seeing that these people that we have coerced, talk to come and invest will come in and invest. So let me start with you, Dapo, because the way you are looking at me shows that in fact you are also enjoying what our president is doing, or you have a different view to it. So what's your take?
You see, it's a sweet thing to woo, be it a business wooing, or the beauty of this win is the fact that it's coming from the president,
exactly,
to an individual, to a businessman or a woman. So it's a win-win deal for the investors and Nigeria itself. The president has done quite, is brilliant with his plans as to bring investors into the country, and going by what is the journey to bringing all these investors together and wooing them. For me, I think it will go a long way in bringing big businesses into the country, that is likely to liberate our revenue. You get so.
Exactly.
I don't want to be so carried away, because presidents have always, the previous administrations, to make these attempts. The president is meeting with investors. Sometimes that's the last thing we hear. But I just hope this won't be like one different of the usual business meeting. And so the president is doing a great job, going about asking, you should come and meet me too, to invest
It
in
is
Nigeria.
the action for
so
me.
I can state my conditions and then tell him what I will need to have an establishment, that can employ as much as 5 million Nigerians, 10 million Nigerians. Engineer.
Now you see, it's a very good thing to discuss, and it's a very good thing to understand the terms of discourse, terms of agreement. For an example, now you are talking to automobile cars manufacturers in India.
Mm-hmm.
You want them to come to Nigeria and put up automobile assembly plant. There must be a very concrete discussion. What are the terms of this trade union? For example, when President Goodluck Jonathan was there, he was saying that he want to reform the Nigerian automobile policy. How can a country be as big as Nigeria does not have automobile policy? And you want to have a single plant in Nigeria without automobile policy. So if you are winning them to come and invest in Nigeria, you must have the trade agreement with these people, so that when they come back to the country, they are not coming to exploit Nigeria as what we are seeing in other African nations. Exploitation. If I bring in automobile company from India, okay, the guy that designed and then manufactured three-wheelers at his auto rickshaw in India, he has only diploma in automobile engineering. And see how many auto rickshaws we have in Nigeria today. I mean Marwa. How many we have in Nigeria today? I look at the technology. As of today, there is nobody in Nigeria that is willingly saying, I want to partner with a firm in India to manufacture 100% three-wheeler vehicle in Nigeria. Let's talk of electric motorcycles. All over the world, people are partnering to manufacture, not to assemble. So the trade term must be specified. That will favor Nigeria. One. Another term is that we have to specify transfer of technology.
Exactly.
TT. If you are talking about people come and invest in my country, you should have at the back of your mind that as the Germans are coming to invest in this country, also they are coming to transfer their technology. An example is at Ijede in Ikorodu, we have a generating plant, 5 turbines by Hitachi from Japan. I can tell you that when there's any fault, these Japanese will go there in the middle of the night, like around 1 a.m., rectify the fault before the following morning, and Nigeria will not be able to see anything. This is not, we're not transferring technology. If we don't transfer technology, we'll be exploiting, or let me say, we'll be bulldozing our resources. We'll be spending money anyhow, and we'll be saying we are broke. If you are bringing in foreign partners, like I will have said in the past, you must specify your terms. If you are bringing in any auto manufacturing company to Nigeria, you must tell me that, okay, this is Mr. Bishop coming from Germany. Mr. Bishop, if you are going to manufacture a motor car in Nigeria, let us agree that after 5 years of your operation, crankshaft must be 100% manufactured in Nigeria with Nigerian locally sourced raw materials. After 7 years, the engine block must be in Nigeria wholly with locally sourced raw materials. And I will now say, okay, at Ibokoda, where we have rubber, mica, that is, we have rubber. Okay, this rubber, okay, sorry, from Ijebu side, water side, rubber. So I want to bring in Dunlop from anywhere in the world, manufactured tire in Nigeria with locally produced rubber in Nigeria. In 15 years, total agreement term will be manufacturing vehicle 100% in Nigeria. Oluwa Glass will give me windscreen. We have NNPC in Nigeria supply me raw materials for chemical, for plastic, lamp and all the rest. So if you go with this term, this trade agreement, we will realize that in 15 years to come, Nigeria will be manufacturing vehicle 100% in Nigeria. So when we are talking about trade terms, we have to specify and have a concrete agreement, and there must be continuity. That after this government, the incoming government too
will continue
must continue. Not that another government will come and say, oh, what this government has done is rubbish.
And
I want to start my own.
thing.
No, this will not help the nation. to build the nation, we must
Has
have
to be continuity.
So it's a very good thing that what is discussing, but to maintain it and to be focused and to be on the right path. So at the same time again, he has to call Nigerians. They have to sit at the round table. This is what I went to India to discuss. This is what I have brought to Nigerian. They are coming. Let us now sit back, discuss, agree on the point we are going to present to them. If they agree with our terms, we go with them. We are not bringing anybody in to exploit Nigerians again. At that time, we are talking about Nigerian medical doctors that are leaving because of the living condition. That is not good. And this is due to borrow that's made our foreign exchange yama.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So quickly would go to the world of sport and take what we have from the world of sport. So we'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at that. Yes, welcome back, and this is where we call it a wrap. It's been a fantastic time, having to bring to you the headlines making the news today. So this is where we say bye for today's news. But before we sign out, I am Modot Dominic, and with me,
I'm Dapo Olorunto, and I'm telling you, please, God bless you and God bless Nigeria.
Ejinola.
I'm Oladipo. Be Nigeria.
Bye, Nigeria. All right, show love to someone and remember to show love to yourself. So this is where we call it a wrap. Till we'll come your way same time, same station tomorrow. Have a blessed day ahead. What is going on?